Hello and welcome to some geometry. Today we are going to be looking at parallel lines again with a transversal. If you forgot, if you have two parallel lines, a transversal is just a line that goes through both of them. It is called a transversal. And today we're talking about proving lines are parallel. So unlike before when we learned about these, they either were parallel or they weren't. This is more of an if kind of statement going on here. It's like, well, if these are parallel, some things are going to be happening, but what if they're not, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to tell if they are parallel, then you're just gonna kind of use the same stuff we did with the whole parallel lines to begin with. If those things are congruent, if these things are supplemental, then they will be parallel, and things like that. So I don't know if you've already kind of read ahead, since talking to me is sometimes good and other times reading is better. So we'll find out. Proving lines parallel. Just because lines look parallel doesn't mean they are parallel. For all you know, these do eventually meet up eventually. It just looks like they're parallel, but whatever. It says the angles must be one of the four angle relationships: corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or consecutive interior. One of those has to be shown to be true. Now, just to let you know, if one of these is true, then the others have to be true. So you only have to show one of them, and that means that they will be parallel, definitely. The angles must be around two separate lines that you are trying to prove parallel. What that means is, if, like in this example, it's an L and an M, I have to have one of the angles up here being compared to one of the angles down here. So like if I was talking about 1 and 4 or 2 and 4, I couldn't do anything. It had to be something like 3 and 6 or 3 and 5 or 3 and 7. 3 and 8 don't really have an angle relationship. That's mentioned down here. But it does have to be one of these four matching to one of those four. Or down here in this one, they are. Good morning. Sorry, my son just walked in. So, as you can see, like depending on the orientation of it, you can have two parallel lines with a transversal, a lot like the one up here. Or if you cover this up, same thing. This one like also looks like the one we had above. It's two lines with this one right here, but it could also be like if you cover this up. Now these are the two parallel lines, kind of like if I was to turn the page for a second. Maybe that looks more familiar to you with the lines being parallel that are sideways. Sorry, maybe I'm not. So two like that, or if you switch it up like this, then you could see it's one transversal with two parallels, or one transversal with two parallels. But it has to be two different things being hit with a transversal. So that's kind of what I do like visually, because like before I even do these problems, like usually the hard part is being able to tell what information is telling what. So just to kind of do one or two examples of things like this, let's call this L and M. Let's call this A and B. And heck, let's go a step further and make a C as well. And let's just say I was to mark these ones 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oops, I forgot about 23 and 24 right there. Luckily, it doesn't really matter. So there you go. If you wanted to see which lines are going to be parallel, then let's just say we were talking about 5 and 14. what I would do is I would go to where 5 is, right here, at that point, and 14, which is this point right here. If you take those 2 points and connect them, that one is the transversal. And if that's the transversal, then that means A and B have to be the parallel lines. So A and B are going to be parallel. So 15, 14, that's what's probably true. If we're trying to prove them, 5 and 14 are alternate exterior, so they are going to be. But right now I'm just concentrating on how to know which 2 lines are parallel. So like if I did in another case, 15 and 19. So with that, I would go, here's 15's point, here's 19's point. And if you connect those, this will be the transversal. So if this is the transversal, then these are the 2 parallel lines, which were L and M, right? So if you look at the transversal, then the other 2 lines are going to be the ones that you're trying to prove. And I'll do one more just to make sure it's making sense. Let's go with 2 and 17. So if I was to go to 2 and 17, it's these 2 points, which means this would be the transversal right here. So since the points are there and the transversal is that means you're going to have to be ignoring this information right there. So it's going to be kind of like, I guess from your perspective, something like this, where you don't care about this either. Those are the numbers you would be using right here. This is the transversal and this is the 2 parallel lines. So the parallel lines are the ones that go through those points. That is not the transversal. So that's another way to think about it if what I just did was too confusing visually for you. If you identify what the transverse is, then the other lines through those points are the 2 lines you're looking at. In this case, A and C. Okay, so I just wanted to get some practice with identifying the parallel lines before we did on this piece of paper. Because it's hard for me, because I'm such a color coordinated person, but unfortunately with this many problems, there's no way I can do colors like I usually do with these. So hopefully doing it on the other side will help understand what I'm about to do here. So in this one, 2 and 4, here's 2 and here's 4. That means this will be the transversal. So if this is the transversal, then the other lines are gonna have to be the ones we're looking at. So in this case, it's D. In this case, it's C. So C and D. Or with 5 is congruent to 10, I'll just erase this because I'm doing it in pencil on purpose so I can erase it. 5 and 10, here's 5 and here's 10's points. So this is the transversal. So if this is the transversal, then that means the other 2 lines have to be the parallel ones. In this case, A and B. So that's how you would do the parallel lines part. For the reason, that's just going back to the up here, are they corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or consecutive? That's the reasoning. So in this case, 2 and 4, right here, 2 and 4, those are corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are congruent. So you would write something like that. So I did that in a full sentence. In the future, I'm probably not going to because I'm lazy. But I wanted to do at least once so you can see what it's looking like. 5 and 10. Here's 5 and here's 10. So if you look at 5 and 10, those are interior angles and they are alternating, right? They're not consecutive on the same side, they are alternating. So 5 and 10 are alternate interior. So alternate interior angles, you know, and it says it right here that they're congruent. So I'm just going to write the congruent symbol. Alternate interior angles are congruent. But if you notice, they're both acute angles. They both look congruent, and they are. So 6 and 10 are supplementary. Remember, if they add up to 180, that's the definition of supplementary. But in terms of what this is, 6 and 10, here's 6, here's 10, so it's actually the same one again. If this is the transversal, then these have to be A and B parallel. Um, 6 and 10 are interior, so consecutive interior. So consecutive interior are supplemental. I don't like that. I'm going back to pen. 1 and 14. Here's 1, here's 14. So it looks like it's still using this. Oh my. It's still A and B. By the way, if this little double line thing is confusing you, that's just the symbol for parallel. This means A is parallel to B. It's a symbol. The symbol for parallel is 2 slashes. The symbol for perpendicular is this thing. Obviously, we're not using the perpendicular today, but just as a reminder, those are symbols. 1 and 14 are exterior. Alternate exterior. Alt exterior are congruent. Next up is 14 and 15. So 14 and 15, this is the transversal, and if this is the transversal, these two have to be the parallel, C and D. And then 14 and 15 are consecutive interior, supplemental. So, okay, hopefully this is enough to help you through it. I would just go ahead, pause the video, see how many you can do. Let's just try them, or try them all and then check the answers, or try them one by one with my answers. But I would start anticipating from here on out. So, because I'm gonna start showing less work. If you feel like you need the work on every single problem, then just rewind and watch the other problems first. Okay, so 11 and 16. 11 and 16. Well, with 11 and 16, there's only 1 point, so you can't. So it says, determine which lines, if any, are parallel. Well, this one you can't, so none. Boop. 4 and 15. Here's 4, and here's 15. So if you do the connection, it's these 2 lines. So A and B. 4 and 15 are alternate exterior, are parallel, are congruent rather. 10 and 12. 10 and 12. This is the transversal, so C and D. Oh my gosh, I keep wanting to change that to a letter. C and D. And then 10 and 12 are both in the upper right, which makes them corresponding. Actually, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. 9 and 13. 9 and 13. 9 and 13. I mean, yes, they add up to 180 because they're a linear pair, but there's no two things here, so it's none again. 2 and 7. 2 and 7. This is the transversal, so this right here and that right there are parallel, which is C and D. 2 and 7 are alternate interior. And then 6 and 11, 6 and 11. So this right here is non-existent. 6 and 11, there is no line here. So it is once again none. Okay, that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully not terrible. It is necessary, obviously, to be able to do this part. So I did make another video on how to tell which angle ones were which vocabulary word. So if you're having trouble with the reason part, go ahead and watch that other video on angle pair types with transversals. And then just come back and do this part. So this isn't super hard if you understand that part. So if you're not, I recommend the other video. But if you're okay with this, then you're okay with this. And there you go. Have a good one.